Hey guys, it's Alternate here, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today is what Naruto had paper release part 3. Sorry I wasn't able to post in a while. It's kind of hard to find time with school going on and all that stuff. I am trying to post as often as I can, but I only think I'll be able to do once a week. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. This what if. So yeah, without further ado, roll the intro. Naruto was currently sitting on a wooden log in the middle of Training Ground 7. He was waiting for Kakashi to show up. Kakashi had told them to arrive at 7 a.m. Naruto, however, had arrived at 9:59 a.m., was yelled at by Sakura, who he pointedly ignored, and then waited for Kakashi to show up. As soon as it was 10 o'clock, Kakashi showed up, and before Sakura could scream, Naruto knocked her out with a chop to the back of the head. "So, what are we waiting for?" Naruto said, hopping off the post. Kakashi just eye smiled and started explaining the bell test. By the time he was finished, Sakura had woken back up and had heard the last part of the test. "Okay, start," Kakashi said, and all three of them disappeared into the forest. Naruto created 2 clones and sent them after Sasuke and Sakura, while the real him hid in the trees. With Clone 1. The first clone dropped down from one of the trees and landed silently next to Sasuke. "Hey Sasuke, I think the point of this test is teamwork, which means that we'll need to work together," Naruto said. "As if I would work with a loser like you," Sasuke said, and I'm better than you tone. "Well then," Naruto said, "suit yourself," before dispelling. With Naruto Clone 2. "Hey Sakura, I think that this test is about teamwork. If we're gonna pass, we have to work together," Naruto said, hopeful that Sakura would see at least some reason to work together. "No!" Sakura screeched, making all the birds in the area fly away. "Why would I work with you? Sasuke can get a bell all by himself, and then he'll get me a bell. Oh, just like Sasuke can do so." Naruto just rolled his eyes, while Sakura continued speaking. "That means that you'll fail, and I'll get to be on a team with only Sasuke without you screwing it up." "Well, 2 things, Sakura," Naruto said, his voice so cold that Sakura slightly recoiled. "Sasuke doesn't love you, and he probably never will. You'll see soon enough that Sasuke only cares about power, and he would do anything possible to gain it, even if he had to kill his own teammates to do so, which in this case would be you. To him, you're a weak excuse for a ninja, and an annoyance he wish would go away. And second, your scream just alerted Kakashi to our position." As soon as he finished talking, Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke, leaving a shell-shocked Sakura. After a few seconds, she got up and tried to crawl away from the area she was in as quietly as possible. Kakashi was watching from the trees and just shook his head. He put his hands in the rat hand seal and enacted the Genjutsu. With the real Naruto, 15 minutes later. Naruto was in a peculiar state. He transformed his entire body into paper and shaped into a tree. The tree looked like every other tree in the area, except Naruto could form his eyes from anywhere on them. He was currently watching Sasuke receive the beating of his life from Kakashi. Kakashi was knocking him around left and right. All attacks that Sasuke tried to land were knocked away and returned with a punch to the gut. Sasuke was getting tossed around, and all the while, Kakashi was just reading his book. But he's not even using 10% of his skill, Naruto thought, and continued watching. The physical thrashing Sasuke was receiving continued for another 5 minutes before they switched to Ninjutsu, which was anticlimactic to say the least. Sasuke only knew one fire jutsu, the Great Fireball technique, and Kakashi easily overpowered it with the same jutsu, but stronger. After the smoke cleared, Kakashi was gone, and just as Sasuke was about to move, he was pulled underground, and Kakashi popped back out of the ground. Sometime during the fight, the chakra that Kakashi had used to keep the Genjutsu on Sakura must have run out, because she came barreling into the clearing at pathetically low speeds and tried to land a right haymaker, which an 8-year-old probably could have blocked. She likely did this in response to seeing Sasuke get dragged underground in the Headhunter Jutsu. Just before she reached Kakashi, She yelled out and said, "Here, take this!" before tripping over her own feet and placed panting. Kakashi just sweat dropped and walked over to her and stood over her, looking down at her. Then she started screaming something about how Sasuke was going to save her. And even Sasuke just looked at her like she was a pathetic excuse of a ninja. Which, in a way, she was, Naruto thought. At this point, it was too much for Naruto, and his paper tree reorganized him into himself. When all the paper was gone, he was lying on the floor, holding his sides in laughter. 5 minutes later, Naruto and Sasuke were sitting at the base of 2 of the wooden poles. Sakura was tied to another one in the middle of them. "I'm very disappointed in the 2 of you," Kakashi said while staring at Sasuke and Sakura. Why us? Naruto didn't do a thing," Sakura screeched. "Actually, he's the one who found out about the meaning of the task," Kakashi said, "which was teamwork. You were supposed to work together. Unfortunately, I have to pass you, but you can forget about me teaching you anything special until you get your teamwork down pat." He then turned to Naruto. "Though, Naruto, I would like to ask if you want to be on this team. I can ask the Hokage about you being allowed to be a solo genin." Naruto thought for a couple seconds before nodding. "Okay, you can go now," he said to them. "I have to go and report to Hokage-sama." Hokage's office. All the Jonin senseis were standing there along with the entire council, both civilian and shinobi, and the elders. All the Jonin were going to be saying whether or not their team passed. When it got to Kakashi's turn, he stepped forward and said, "Team 7 didn't show anything that is needed to be a team, but I had to pass them because of the elders' decision." Hiruzen glared at the elders for going behind his back on this. Kakashi continued, "I think I can monitor them, but I would like to ask if Naruto could become a solo genin." Multiple people gasped. He asked his teammates to work together, and although I didn't see any of his skills, he seems to specialize in assassination and torture. At least that's, from what I've seen, that is what he would be good in. On top of that, he seems to have a sadistic streak a mile wide, seeing as how he was laughing at watching Sasuke get beat up. Hiruzen nodded and said, "Yes, he is quite talented. He was the one to stop Mizuki from stealing the Scroll of Seals." "Ibiki, would you mind teaching him for a week? And if you wanted to continue teaching him after that, you could. I think he needs a mentorship." Ibiki nodded, and a couple of the council members tried to say something, but they were silenced by a single look from Hiruzen. Anyway guys, I just want to say thanks for listening. I will see you guys next time.